Hey guys, what's going on? It's Vic here, back with another Madden 21 video, and in today's episode, I'm bringing you my first ever theme team rebuild, and I chose the Washington football team because number one, they have the most Alabama players on their team than any other team in the NFL, I do believe right now. Number two, they also have the numbers on the side of their helmets, during game day and all that other stuff, which is really cool. And also Alabama does that, so that's really, really cool in my opinion. Obviously we have our coach here, Nick Saban, and yeah, this team is going to be super, super hype. I believe it's going to be caught lacking at quarterback, but receivers and running backs are going to be stacked as well. But also, guys, something I want to address before we get into it: if I happen to miss one or two players, sorry. Doesn't really matter. This team is still really fun to play with. But anyways, guys, other than that, it's time to jump into this rebuild. So first of all, I'm turning off salary cap because there's no way we're going to be able to pay all these players on a legitimate contract. So I'm just going to turn this off because this is supposed to be a fun thing. So I'm going to show you guys the team right now. So this is the overlook of the team, and you guys can just see how stacked it is. O-line, not that great. Quarterbacks are not that great either. Looks like I'm missing someone at tight end, so it looks like Mark Ingram is going to play there for some reason. But overall, it's not a bad team, I would say. Receivers are amazing. Running backs are amazing. Apart from that, it's not really that great, I would say. And defensively, the D-line is looking pretty solid. The defensive backs look pretty great too, and safeties look amazing as well. Linebacking core is pretty solid too. But guys, just want to let you know there is no free agency. I'm not going to be doing free agency. And whenever I get in the draft, I can only draft Alabama players. That is how this is going to work. And we're going to be playing 4 seasons of this, 4 entire seasons. Yes, you heard it from me. Whether or not we win the Super Bowl, we should be able to consistently win the Super Bowl with this kind of a team. Monsters that they are. This team is absolutely amazing, and I'm really, really excited to get into it. Also, this team took a lot of time to make, just to let you know. Here we are at the midseason mark, as we were actually at week 10. As we are 5-3 apparently. Wow, that is very nice to see, and we are second division behind the 6-2 Eagles. But also, guys, just want to really mention real quick, this took a lot of time to make and a lot of time to set up. So very, very long time is what I'm trying to say. And yeah, if you guys could just simply like and or subscribe, it would really be much appreciated. This took me hours on end to complete, but I'm cutting these players because the CPU keeps signing them. If the CPU signs a player, it'll probably sign it back, so I'm sorry if they're depth players or something like that. Yeah, Alabama never really has any good kickers, so there's not really much to go around in the NFL. So other than that, guys, let's get into the playoffs. Here we are in the playoffs as we're coming off a win to the Eagles as we finished 12-4 in a wild card with the 7-9 Buccaneers. That is surprising. And looking into it, we had the second seed as well, top of the division above the 7-9 Philadelphia Eagles. Wow, they really had a drop off. Tua was horrible. 9th best offense though, and 7th best defense. Looks like Derrick Henry carried. No way, that has to be some type of MVP talk. Best rushing yards and best TDs. Come on. He's not even in the conversation, but Colin Kaepernick is? You are clowning right now. There's no way. That was insane stats, bro. But he does get best running back. That is insane to me how he's best in rushing yards and rushing touchdowns, but he's not even an MVP talk. Tua, not great in yards, not great in touchdowns, too many interceptions, not great. Derrick Henry, monster, 14 TDs, 1,500 yards. Julio Jones, I mean, with this receiving core, I would assume you would do so much better than that. Defensively, CJ Mosley with the most tackles on the team, most tackles for a loss, goes to 13 for Ryan Anderson, and sacks on the team, 11 for Dante Hightower. That's surprising. Interceptions, 3 for Kareem Jackson, and safeties on the team is going to be 1 for Hamilton, I believe it is, and defensive touchdowns, 1 for Marlon Humphrey. So other than that, guys, I would say it's time to simulate this wildcard round against the 7-9 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Please tell me the 12-4 team can beat the 7-9 team. Just please tell me that simulation isn't that bad. And we do beat them, crushing them 31-3, 4-possession lead, as we're going to face the Packers in the divisional round, simulating to see if we can make it to the conference championship. We do not, losing by 3 points. That is very disappointing. 24-21. So other than that, let's get to the offseason. Here we are in the offseason as the Packers beat the Colts in the Super Bowl. We obviously don't really need to re-sign anyone. These guys, I'm just going to let hit free agency. These guys, the CPU signed them once again, but they did not come from Alabama. If the CPU signed someone, they're depth players. They don't really matter, so don't get really stingy about it. But all of these players on this team are from Alabama, except those 2 players that we need to re-sign. So this receiving core is insane. Running backs are insane. 2 Heisman running backs, by the way. Dante Hightower now has superstar development, and it looks like everyone else here looks the same to me. I'm going to move up Xavier McKinney. And yes, I put some safeties at defensive back because we were caught lacking at defensive back in depth terms. So other than that, let's just get into the draft. So here we are on the draft, picking up a free safety. I'm going to move him down to defensive back. Normal development, they have to come from Alabama, and it is actually a lot harder than I thought to find these guys. So we're picking up the tight end, John Woods, in depth. Big reach, but he's the only Alabama player. So there weren't a lot of Alabama players, so I couldn't really use all of my picks, so I had to draft players, then cut them as soon as I got back into the game. So it was really disappointing to see that, and you'd be surprised about the amount of lackluster Alabama players that there is in Madden drafts, bro. It's surprising. But anyways, guys, let's get to the midseason mark. Here we are at the midseason mark, coming off a win to the Raiders as we are 6-1. Second in the division behind the 8-0 Cowboys. Wow, I'm surprised by that. But we don't have any players to resign. So other than that, guys, let's jump into the playoffs. So now here we are in the playoffs, coming off a win to the Broncos, as it looks like we got a first round bye, top of the division, above the 13-3 Cowboys, who fell off as we stole the division. Tua still sucks. 5th best offense in the NFL and 8th best defense in the NFL. Tua had only 3,400 yards. 32 TDs isn't bad, and 6 interceptions is great, but yards needs to go up. 11 TDs and 1,500 yards for Derrick Henry. You can't tell me you have this great of a receiving core and then refuse to not get that many yards. That's insane to me. Defensively, CJ Mosley with 122 tackles for a loss. 18 for Jonathan Allen. Most sacks on the team is 11 for Dante Hightower, and interceptions is 3 for Xavier McKinney. That might be a dev up. That's actually pretty good. And he had a defensive touchdowns, but 1 safety for Jonathan Allen, and defensive touchdowns is 1 for Xavier McKinney, and that would be it. So other than that, guys, we're going to simulate this wild card round to see who we are going to be playing in the divisional round. I will hop in if we make it to the conference championship, but I doubt we will because Madden simulation is horrible. But we're here to face the 9-7 Bears. Please tell me we can beat a 9-17 to move on to the conference championship, and we do. Beating 34-21, we're here to face the 13-3 division rival, the Dallas Cowboys. So let's just hop into this matchup in this conference championship. Here we are in the conference championship as it is 35-17 against the Cowboys. 1 minute left in the game. 38-17, 24-38, and 24-38 will be your final score as we are moving on to the Super Bowl. So here we are in the Super Bowl, and I'm not surprised. Nick Saban is out here, and he's always in the championship. No matter what it is, doesn't matter if it's going to be the Super Bowl or the national championship. He's always just a champion in general. And this team looks the same on offense, but defensively, Dante Hightower is now a superstar X factor, but he's still regressing. And CJ Mosley is out here with superstar development. And if you guys see that the numbers are weird, it doesn't matter. Really, it doesn't. Xavier McKinney also has superstar dev. A lot of dev ups. That is great for this team. So other than that, guys, I would say that it is time to hop into the Super Bowl matchup against the Ravens. So here we are in the Super Bowl against the Baltimore Ravens, 21-14. 2 minutes left in the game. I'm going to have to hop in here for the final drive. I'm going to be trying to run cheese plays. And why does it do that? Why does it throw you in the game right before the 2-minute warning? That makes me mad. But why stick? Why not? I guess that kind of was a pun, but always Amari Cooper should be able to beat this guy on the slant. He's a physical receiver, or maybe even a deep threat. I don't know. He's backed up. He should be able to get this. I was about to get sacked, but of course he drops it. Okay, I don't know what I was supposed to do there. That slant always works in the red zone, but he couldn't get off his man. 96 overall, Amari Cooper couldn't get off his man. So anyways, guys, that is going to be it for the Super Bowl. We lost 14-21 against the Baltimore Ravens. Nick Saban loses the national championship, or Super Bowl, whatever you want to call it. That is rare, but still, that is also disappointing. But we still have 2 more seasons to go, so don't worry. So here we are after the Super Bowl, and I actually skipped the MVP, so I'll just look at it here. And it looks like it was Lamar Jackson with 2 passing touchdowns and a couple rushes. So not really the greatest MVP of all time, as he wasn't the greatest league MVP, I'm going to be honest, even though I'm a Ravens fan. Then looking into the retirements, we don't have any retirements here. So other than that, guys, we're going to be looking into the re-signings. And who is this guy? A kicker that we signed in free agency. You did not come from Alabama. You will not be staying on this team. So your profile picture, you look like you're bald, but I click on you and you have really long hair. I don't know what Madden is doing, but still, this is what the team looks like. I don't really know why I'm showing the team. I already showed that in the Super Bowl. So other than that, let's just get to the draft. So I scrolled through all 7 rounds, and these are the 2 guys that I can find that came from Alabama. That is very surprising. So we're going to have to reach hard on this guy right here, a wide receiver that we definitely don't need, and we are going to have to reach hard on the center on our next pick. So definitely a waste of draft picks. I'm very surprised that none of these players really came from Alabama. It's really surprising. This center I'm going to reach hard for as well. I guess we have depth at center now. And I'm going to simulate the draft and cut every other player that wasn't from Alabama. So let's get to it. So here we are after the draft, and the team looks the same as always, as the center is now a backup. Could put him at right guard. It would improve our O-line just a little bit. But this team is really shaping together a lot nicer than I thought it would. It's honestly not as stacked as I would have wanted it to be. So let's get to the midseason mark. So here we are at the midseason mark, coming off a bye week. As the Seahawks are 6-1, we're 5-2, top of the division above the 5-3 Philadelphia Eagles. And it looks like we don't really need to re-sign anyone. I do that off camera. So let's just get to the playoffs. So here we are in the playoffs, if I don't stutter over my words, 11-5, top of the division, coming off a win to the Eagles. Tua, can you please, for the love of God, have passing yards? 11th best offense, 4th best defense. He was the worst in passing yards in the league, 3,200 yards, 25 TDs, 9 interceptions. And Derrick Henry, once again a monster, 11 TDs, 1,400 yards. And receivers really can't get involved because Tua, for some reason, decides to suck. And defensively, CJ Mosley with the most tackles on the team, most tackles for a loss, goes to 15 for Ryan Anderson. Ryan Anderson is really getting a lot of sacks and tackles for a loss, and he also has the most sacks on the team with 6.5. Even though he's normal development, 3 interceptions for Xavier McKinney, and safeties on the team is going to be 0, and defensive touchdowns on the team is going to be 0. So a little bit of a surprising thing right there in Ryan Anderson, but hopefully we can beat the Buccaneers once again to move on to the divisional round. That would definitely be really, really cool. And can we do it? We don't. Losing in the wild card round. Even though we were playing at home, we lose 15-13. That is a very odd score, very surprising. I don't need to check Henry Ruggs' superstar ability, so let's just get to the offseason. So here we are in the offseason as the Buccaneers beat the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, which is surprising. And Tom Brady also retires with a win. I don't think Tom Brady would ever retire. And A.J. McCarron, Kareem Jackson, Julio Jones. Ooh, those were 2 big ones. A.J. McCarron I don't care about, so it doesn't really matter. There's not many Alabama QBs either. So I think the CPU will sign a QB, so that might be a bad thing. And Julio Jones is no longer here, as you can see, which is very disappointing. But looking onto the team, Ryan Anderson has star dev now. I expected that. And everyone else kind of looks the same, I'm not going to lie. So other than that, guys, we are going to have to simulate to the draft. So hopefully we can actually get good players this time. So looking into the draft, we're getting a defensive tackle in depth, I would say. 74 overall, normal development, kind of the only thing really available. And these are the only 2 Alabama players left in the draft that I could find. I'm not going to scroll through the undrafted part. That would take years. I scrolled through the first 7 round projected people, and this is who I'm going to get. So I drafted the tight end, and now I'm going to simulate to another 3rd round pick here. And if we're going to scroll down, we're going to pick another needless wide receiver that we don't ever really need. 68 overall, but he came out of Alabama, so that's all that matters. So other than that, guys, it's time to simulate to the end of the draft and cut some players. So after cutting all the players that did not come from Alabama, this is what the team looks like. As again, it looks the same because apparently we can't get anyone good that comes from out of Alabama in the Madden 21 draft. I don't know why it's like that, but it is like that sometimes. But anyways, let's get to the midseason mark. Here we are at the midseason mark, coming off a win to the Eagles once again, as we are 6-1. top the division above the 5-3 Cowboys. This is the final season, so just like every season, I don't need to resign anyone. I was resigning these guys all off camera because we have an infinite cap room, and it doesn't really matter that much. So other than that, guys, I'd say it's time to jump into the playoffs. Here we are in the playoffs, coming off a win to the Dolphins, and we have a first-round bye once again. Nick Saban really tearing it up with this team here. 13-3 above the 12-4 Dallas Cowboys. Tua, for the love of God, get passing yards. 4th best offense in the NFL. 20th best defense in the NFL. Tua, 3,400 yards, 31 TDs. 4 interceptions is great, but please get passing yards. I swear to God. Derrick Henry, similar stats to last season. Josh Jacobs had 12 touchdowns, apparently. And O.J. Howard, dude, how can you have this great of a receiving core and not manage to get passing yards? Jerry Jeudy had 10 touchdowns, though. Defensively, C.J. Mosley with the most tackles on the team, most tackles for a loss, goes to 11 for Dante Hightower and 11 for Jonathan Allen. Sacks on the team is 10.5 for Quinnen Williams. First double digits, I believe. Wait, no, Dante Hightower had it before him. And C.J. Mosley had 3 picks with the most on the team, and blocks, I don't need to look at blocked punts or block kicks. Safeties 1 for Landon Collins, which is interesting, and defensive touchdowns is going to be 0. So other than that, we're going to simulate this wild card round. This is the final season of the Alabama theme team rebuild, so I really hope we can actually win the Super Bowl with the Alabama theme team. I would hope we would, but Tua seems to suck really badly. We're going to face off against the 9-7 Green Bay Packers. Hopefully we can beat a 9-7 team. I expect us to, and we do, winning 40-17. Here we are in the conference championship here to face the 10-6 New Orleans Saints. So I will actually hop in to see this. And Marcus Mariota, I don't know why you're here. I guess we need a depth player, so I'm going to upgrade these players here, and I don't want Marcus Mariota to win the Super Bowl with us. Yes, he was a Heisman winner, but yeah. Wait, what was that? For some reason, it's not letting me play the game. What does it say? Oh, I need a minimum requirement to sign a QB. So it looks like I'm very, very sorry, Marcus Mariota. Please forgive me. Please come back and sign with the team, even though you're not an Alabama player. We are just Alabama doesn't produce enough quarterbacks, apparently, that make it to the NFL. So you're going to be our second string, even though you came out of Oregon, because the game physically won't let us play without you. So other than that, guys, I would say we're going to hop into this matchup against the Saints. Here we are in the conference championship against the Saints, as it is 32-21. 1 minute left in the game as they're trying to make a final drive, as it is now 33-21, and that will be the game as we are moving on to the Super Bowl once again, as we made the playoffs all 4 years. And apparently they had Mason Rudolph as their quarterback. If you guys didn't see that in the last scene, that was interesting. But the Bills are here to lose their 5th Super Bowl, I believe. And this is what the team looks like. There's no offensive upgrades, but C.J. Mosley now has superstar X Factor. That was not surprising, very. I kind of expected that. I was disappointed to see that Marlon Humphrey didn't go to an X Factor, but he is a 99 overall now, so that is very cool. So other than that, guys, I would say that it's time to hop into this matchup against the Buffalo Bills in the final season in the Super Bowl. So here we are in the Super Bowl against the Buffalo Bills. 24-35 is the current score. 2 minutes left in the game. 35-24 is still the score, as they can't put together any drive in the final minutes of this game. And Nick Saban and the Alabama theme team will win the Super Bowl, and this will be a successful rebuild because of it. And that looks really weird to see. Washington football team champions. That looks so weird to see. But anyways, guys, your Super Bowl MVP is the absolute man who can't put up yards, and he apparently didn't do it again. Over 200 yards, just barely, and 3 touchdowns, 1 interceptions. I don't know what's up with you two. You need to put up yards. Anyways, guys, that is going to do it for this video. I hope you guys all enjoyed this theme team rebuild. Again, make sure you like and or subscribe. This took a long time to put together, to force trade, to try and build the roster. It took a long time to do research to make sure I got a lot of players that actually mattered and didn't miss a lot of players either. So anyways, guys, if you did enjoy it, make sure, again, you hit the like button, comment down below what team you would like me to do next. I might continue the series. Who knows? It might be all of college. Anyways, guys, other than that, I'll see you guys all in the next one.